Hello, my name is Arnaud Métairie. I'm based in the area near Cheltenham, and I'm a demonstrator qualified area for 3 counties in South Wales area of NAFAS. I travel around the country demonstrating and teaching, but today I'm going to demonstrate this little design, fairly simple, standing on a metal stand which was originally for candles. And this has a single stem here, as you can see, and 2 dishes with 2 Oasis brick foam or moisture retaining foam. I have started this design by placing some variegated hosta leaves on one side, and I'm going to use other leaves on the other, but a different way this time. It's always difficult to try to get hold of enough foliage, but we have been very lucky over the last few months to be able to spend time in our gardens and enjoy looking after them and having the time really to do so. I have some moss pins which I'm going to use in a couple of places to hold the hosta leaves in place. And then I have hosta leaves, but different hosta leaves this time, to bring the other way across. These are plain. As well as demonstrating, I'm a gardener and I look after 3 gardens on a regular basis, on a weekly basis at the moment. And I've been doing so for 14 years or thereabout. So here are the leaves on the other side, and I'm going to place these at the end downwards, like so. I'm going to push them in the foam quite firmly, otherwise they'll come out, and place a little bit of the metal moss pins that you can all get, I'm sure. I have cut my foam slightly smaller than the standard size, because once you have placed your material, your foliage and flowers, you will find that the water will come up and you won't have enough space for conditioning the foam later on and keeping the design damp enough. So I've taken a little bit of on both sides and on the front and back as well of the foam, so that there is enough space, as I said, for the water to stay in place. Right, well, I'm going to start with some height. This is Sisyrinchium, which I'm sure you all grow. I have picked some from the garden yesterday. We have had quite a good heat wave, so I have been very careful with my conditioning. You ought to, when you pick, you ought to condition at the night before, really, before arranging if possible. And I'm not really worried that all of them do not have flowers on, but it's fine. It breaks it up a bit and brings different texture to the design straight away. We have vertical lines here, which is quite nice. So I'll turn this round so you can have a look. Like that, and I will carry on with probably some icebergs. Yes, iceberg roses, just a few iceberg roses, but this time I'm going to place them at a good height halfway through maybe. And maybe not too many. They're quite bulky, aren't they? It's quite a bulky shrub, the iceberg rose. So a few lower down as well, doesn't hurt. And I'll bring this one lower down, like so. And take this one in front to repeat the colour of the variegation and to use more depth with the layers of plant material and flowers. Normally you would place the foliage first, but for this design I prefer to place flowers in first and then hide my foam with foliage later on once all my flowers are in. So I'll show you how this is coming on, and I'll bring a few just to hide the foam again. And this will create good depth without being too bulky. And sometimes it's quite nice to see the back of a flower. It doesn't have to be always facing forward. The back is quite pleasant. The back of a gerbera, for example, is quite nice, or a rose for this instance, as I only am using garden flowers for this design. It has a slight scent, not a lot, but still a very pleasant rose to use as a cut rose, and I'm sure many of you grow it around the country. So I'll turn this round and show you how this is coming on. Quite a nice transition in colour with the white and the variegation and the slight yellow with a bit of white in it and lime by now. I'm going to add some Deutzia. This is a beautiful Deutzia which I've defoliated. The leaves are a bit too big for this design, so I thought it would be better to defoliate and to bring these Deutzia flowers at their best, really. They look more beautiful, they stand better if they are defoliated. Deutzia is a very pretty shrub to have. There's so many varieties of Deutzias. This is quite a straightforward design which you could make with all sorts of garden plant material available to you at home or through friends you would know through your club, your garden club. I'm just going to bring a few lower down. You take off the lower flowers and just bring some forward as I bring this design round to show you. Then I will fill a little at the back as well, and maybe take a couple against the hosta leaves, just to show you around. And then I have some oriental poppies which I've conditioned, and the pods are quite pretty. You could spray them at different time of year if you were to dry them. I'm just going to use them here and there and take them through. I'm taking the skin off the pod. I think it looks a bit neater and a bit more pleasing as well. Different height takes your eye across. Oh, this one's broken. They do break quite easily if you don't get the little base leaf off. So just a few more to add to this. And maybe a couple more. It's interesting to be able to use garden material, especially garden flowers, but it can be quite challenging. And once you look at what you have in the garden, it's amazing what you can create and what you can come up with. So have a go and see whether you can actually create something out of not a lot. So this is the textures and different shapes with the poppies, and then I'm going to add to this some Hedera crispula, which is the curled ivy. Hedera crispula is very useful for buttonholes, for example, but it's also quite an interesting leaf. It's a curled leaf, curled ivy. If only you could smell this. It's a beautiful, beautiful scent. Hedera crispula is a climber. I grow it on a frame, and I have had no trouble at all. It can go a bit funny with the wind and get a bit damaged at times in the winter, but it soon recovers. Very useful foliage to have for competing as well. A little bit of brown here. I'm just about to finish, and I'll just hide 1 or 2 pieces of foam here to show you how this is coming on, and I'll do this side as well. I do hope you've enjoyed this quick design, and that it probably maybe has inspired you to go out in the garden and look at what is available to you and maybe create something which you would enjoy at home or as a gift. That's about it. Thank you for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this quick demonstration, and happy flowering.